Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, happy week, happy Pride. We're still here. We're still being gay. We're still celebrating ourselves. Hoping you're doing the same. Um, Welcome to the panel. Let me see. There were a couple of things before I get started with the topics. I'm going to do about half an hour of news, topics, tweets, stuff like that. So if you're not interested in topics, which I won't be offended, they're not for everybody. Come back in half an hour and the panel should be open. But the first half hour or so, I think I'm going to devote to getting information out there that I want to present. Hey, Daniel Berry. Hi, Brandon. Yeah, Brandon, we need to talk. I've been doing some thinking. And so we had a good weekend and it was fun and pride and everything. But I want to get back to what I'm trying to do on this channel and my topics and the kind of panels we do here, which are very adult and X-rated. So I think that I think it was a good collaboration. I think it's time to go back to doing our own thing. I think there's a lot of other panels out there for you to explore, and you've done a fantastic thing so far. So I think this is a chance for you to keep doing that, and for me to get focused back on what I'm trying to do here. So, and you're welcome to stop by in the comments. Yeah, huh, really, Vic? Um, we'll talk about that. You're welcome to drop by, comments, and hang out with the community and stuff. But I think the panel stuff is I need my panel back. So that's that. I checked the news today. Mexico elected some lady. They have a Mexican lady as president now. And I didn't delve deeply enough into it. I don't know what side of the aisle she's on or anything like that, or even if their aisles are the same side as ours. Possibly not. But that happened, and that's all that really caught my eye. I have a tweet that I want to share just because I think it's relevant, and it's from a guy that I've been following for a while, David Cray. He's a good follow. Look at this. A key problem millennials and Gen X have when trying to sell their sob stories, these are those victim stories about their disabilities, to Gen X and boomers, is that Gen X and boomers have lived with those same issues and challenges, but just don't advertise it. Y and Z are asking for coddling from other divergents. And that's why I think also like some of what we encounter on here, where they come with one set of expectations, but I'm Gen X. We took a totally different approach, and they get that approach on here, and I think they don't know what to do with that. Well, you're funny looking. Why do you? Well, funny is subjective. You might be. I don't know what you look like. But even if you're funny looking, that's you. Celebrate it. Like embrace it. You like empower yourself with it. We'll talk a little bit about that today with the topics because like what this was part of what this was intended to be was a kind of an alternate to Jordan Peterson. I was trying to provide some other maps of meaning for the ones like me whose Jordan Peterson's maps didn't really work for. And the meanings we looked at came from stories, the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we grow up in, that society, cultures have that keep them together, etc. So the maps of meaning are really maps of these stories and how to look at stories, how to receive stories, how to tell our stories, etc. So that's what these maps are intended to be, these kind of paradigms that I'm presenting are models. And one of the big ones that Jordan Peterson gives, by the way, this is the part where I stop looking at the comments and focus on the presentation. And then I'll come back and catch up when it's over. So we'll see where this one goes. Where am I? Okay. So like one of the main arrangements that Jordan Peterson uses for his when he's kind of mapping out his meaning is order and chaos. And yeah, I could kind of see that that's one way to frame it if you want. I don't find it helpful for me personally as an American in American life. And I've talked about, and when I traced kind of the development of this beginning of what he calls order. Of course, there were types of order and ideas of order before the Greeks, but rationality is kind of a certain kind of order of its own that had never really been seen before. And so order and chaos, or the rational and irrational, is one way of looking at it. I prefer truth and meaning, or truth and myth, or myth and logic as the polarity. And then two others we looked at were the individual versus the group or the collective, and tyranny versus freedom. Like when that initial myth or story becomes so like concretized and monolithic and dogmatic that it becomes a tyrannous force instead of a creative force. This other myth kind of rises up. In fact, Northrop Frye even calls it the myth of freedom. So I find kind of myth, logic, truth, meaning, freedom, tyranny, individual, group much more useful than order, chaos when I look at the stories of today, the stories I'm involved in, the stories I tell myself, etc. And so use what you will. I'm just offering new ones, or alternative ones. They're not really new. He preceded Peterson, and he took them from Western tradition, from his study of it. So in addition to like those values, so when we're looking at these two types of myths or thinking, one of them is centered around keeping society together, and it has a tendency over time to perhaps become authoritarian and tyrannical and oppressive. And this other this myth that forms historically later with rationality and individual freedom, etc., is kind of emerges from within that, but it is kind of set against it, critiquing it and looking at it and trying to establish something centered around a new set of values. So when we look at comedy today, does StreamYard have a whiteboard option? That would really help. Let me take a look here. No, it doesn't. Okay. Well, I'm going to get a little bit nerdy here for just a second. Bear with me. We looked at those four quadrants of myth or stories, or four quadrants of maps that we can pull out to help us with our stories. And one of the axes, let's say the horizontal axes, we're calling comedy and tragedy. We're familiar with the drama mask from theater, which also goes back to Greece. That's kind of plot oriented and action oriented. And you have either, let's talk about the levels. In addition to those kind of values that we see kind of emerging from these two different types of thinking, we also have like different levels or scales that those values could be applied to. So we can have like an individual against a group or a society. So we can have the individual level. We can look at it from a group trying to establish themselves within an existing society. We could look at it as a new YouTube channel, maybe trying to establish itself within the panelverse, a community, a new society, etc. You can all go all the way up to the level of civilization, or even the level of the collective, like the globalists are attempting to do, and see all of humanity as the group. So when we're talking about how these two different types of thinking interact, where they can interact at any level. It could be at the individual level. It could be even internally within the individual level. It could be group, societal, community, etc. And some of the examples I'll use will draw on some of the different types of levels. So, so we have these two types of groups or societies or sets of stories, let's say, trying to establish themselves. And generally, the way it works out, especially in our modern Western world, one of them is already established. So when we come into the story, there is a dominant story already established. And we looked at through Northrop Frye that in our modern society, at least until recently, it was the Christian or the Judeo-Christian mythology, and it was supplemented by classical, which is Greco-Roman, Greece and Rome, and the classical learning. And so it was kind of a amalgam of or synthesis of that. And then Enlightenment and scientific rationalism came in as kind of that counter myth that started to examine and disintegrate a bit that myth. And so the first phase, so we're going to look at these six. So comedy is when you're rooting for a happy ending. So if you, the comic structure is a V or a U, if you will. It's a conflict, a descent. Sometimes you get to a low point in the story where you're not even sure the hero is going to make it or survive, and then there's a turnaround and a climax, and the hero is successful, and he and his society went out in the end and established this happy, harmonious paradise, you might say. And in fact, Dante's masterwork is called the Commedia and ends with paradise itself, his vision of paradise. So comedy is about moving toward paradise, moving toward your ideal, your utopia, your vision of what's good. And so it's kind of a movement forward. It's the descent of that V going upward. And then of course tragedy is the opposite. Tragedy is like a mountain where you've ascended and you've reached your peak, and from there you can only fall. You're at like the top of the wheel of fortune. And so tragedy is the fall downward, or how groups disintegrate or fall apart. And so we're not necessarily going to focus on tragedy. We're going to look at the comic structure of how do individuals reach their goals? How do they become successful, whatever their version of success is? How do groups and communities establish themselves? How do they grow and build? How do they interact, coexist, come into conflict with other groups that are centered around different stories and different values? That's kind of what comedy is going to look at. And there's kind of six phases or six sets of stories that we can tell ourselves when we're talking about our personal success goal, community success. So today I think it's easy to look at it from the group level as you have a new group trying to establish itself within an existing group. And this new group is centered, at least mythologically, at least in the stories that it tells itself, around a sense of greater freedom relative to the original group, which is experienced more authoritarian or tyrannical. Maybe something closer to the truth or reality of the world as it is relative to some mythological version of reality, or values centered around the individual relative to this larger collectivist group-oriented society. So those are some of the features of this second set of stories that might, let's say, is trying to establish itself. So in the first phase, you have the very beginnings of the group, and sometimes the groups could be represented by an individual or a small group of individuals, like a band of heroes, an individual hero. So again, we have all of those different levels. So let's just talk about it as a set of stories, a group of people that are centered around those stories. So initially in the first phase, they don't ever really get established. So the existing society, in fact, in the first two phases, the existing society doesn't really change. So you come into a society, you attempt to establish your new values, and maybe that doesn't happen. The existing society, they're too fringe. Think of Talcott's Utopia. And of course, that's the phase I would look at it now. Perhaps we're at the beginning of a story where it does get established and it makes it all the way to these other phases. But right now, it looks like it's in a phase of trying to get established, but not really taking root. IFI's Conservataria, some of the libertarian paradises that we hear about. Like, I'd say any kind of modern political paradise that seems a little bit fringe and doesn't have a lot of adherents. It is like that little train trying to take off and do its thing, while the existing society carries on unfazed, or in some cases completely triumphs and ends that attempt. That's the first phase. And if you think of it as like the life cycle of a human being, that's the birth phase. In stories of comedy, not necessarily haha stories, but stories with a comic structure or happy ending structure. They start out with maybe an infant birth. You have the birth of Christ, the birth of Moses. Greece has stories of births of infants, etc. So that when you're telling stories about how to get off the ground, either independently of or in contrast to or in opposition to this existing other group or narrative or whatever, you're kind of in this first phase. So just being aware that this phase exists, and it's one way to look at stories, or maybe when we're telling ourselves stories and we notice these particular patterns and themes. Remember, this is a map. So we're trying to locate ourselves, our personal stories, and our group and society stories on this map, so that once we find where our story is and we can help locate where other people's stories are, we can learn better pathways to integrating, or at least understanding, our stories together, since we do have to coexist. So that's where all this is headed. So the first phase, the story's kind of just beginning, but it's not really taking off the ground. The second phase assumes that it does get enough momentum to kind of take off the ground. It's not going to overtake or overpower this existing society or set of stories, but it does have enough strength and momentum to kind of coexist with it and do its own thing. I'm thinking of things like the gay rights movement, which began with Stonewall and eventually got enough adherents and participants to kind of, by the time I entered into it, we had an entire society, culture. We had gay bars, gay organizations, gay groups that were not officially established in society, but they were still coexisting alongside the existing structures of society. And so the story was mainly focused on these groups' attempt to independently coexist within an existing structure. They're past the birth phase. They're actually legitimate. They've gotten that validation we talked about from the identity formation construct. They've gotten the affirmation. They found people to affiliate with. So this is like the youth or adolescent phase of a individual story, where they're established enough to kind of begin to find their place in society, but they're not established enough to be a part of society yet, or to overtake or overthrow and become the next phase of society. So that's where, and so kind of another thing I was thinking, I was listening to a satanic podcast earlier, and apparently there's some drama in the satanic temple, and there's a Satanist I'm trying to get on to help come and talk about it. But that's another example of a group, because Anton LaVey, I watched the documentary today called, I didn't even know about it. It was called American Satan. And it's kind of a documentary of him and his successful attempts to establish the Church of Satan. So that's like a man with a vision. Satanism had never been officially established or codified before. He puts it together. He gets it officially established. It becomes a thing. So that was like a successful birth. It made it to the next level where it coexisted within society. And what Lucian Greaves did with the Satanic Temple, that crew, they came along and got it established as an official religion within the United States, like through the IRS with the tax exempt status or whatever. And so now it falls under the protections of religious discrimination. So it's fully established in society now. And like Satanism is, as a real religion. And under the IRS, it's actually a Christian denomination. Also, the gay rights movement. We went from that kind of independently coexisting second phase set of stories to once we got marriage and we got legal and political equality, we were officially established. Now we were an equal part of society. And that brings us into our third phase, where that original society that's trying to establish itself is successful and it becomes a part of that society. So now you have two groups coexisting more or less as equals. Well, actually, no, that's the next phase. So this phase is where the new society completely, this is the basic plot of comedy. If you go see any rom-com or any comedy show at the movies where there's a hero or a set of heroes that's kind of the minority, the classic pattern, of course, is a guy who's trying to get the girl, and there might be a father or some male rival or some blocking figure that from the existing society standing in the way that he has to overcome and eventually win the girl and get the girl in the end. A lot of comedies end with weddings or festivals or celebrations that integrate large numbers of society into a group because it's about establishing groups and communities, paradises, utopias successfully. That's the end goal, like archetypally of comedy, and or at least of the comic pattern. And so in this third phase, that's kind of the plot where whatever the hero was trying to do is successful. Society makes way. The hero gets included. Notice at the end of most comedies, whoever that initial like blocking figure is, let's say it's the father that you're never going to marry my daughter. He's not evil at the end. The son and the bride don't displace the society. They kind of integrate back into it, and everybody's able to coexist now. And so that initial society is able to expand and include this new society. And that's kind of where this third phase at. And that's kind of the goal of these first three phases anyways, that successful establishment of the new society or the new set of values or set of stories. Now, this is important to remember that this is describing stories. This is a map of meaning, and the meanings come from the stories. So this is not a description of how humans actually work. This is not sociology. This is not anthropology. So I'm not describing groups, how they actually are. I'm describing the way we tell, the way that we look at and talk about the stories that we tell ourselves as we're trying to find meaning. It could perhaps correlate or relate to some of this real world stuff, but I don't want to present this as a map of how people actually are, although there could be very interesting and instructive similarities and parallels. But my focus is on using it as a map to locate our personal stories within a larger network of stories and navigating around that network by aligning our personal stories with other group stories. Okay, so we're kind of at that third generic phase where the thing was successful, the society got, the gays got their marriage, the Satanists got their religion established, etc. Right now, some of the groups we see on the left, we see like the woke and the progressives, the DEI. Like in Washington State, they were successful in establishing that Office of DEI. So that's like the beginning, the births of something, kind of that first phase to second phase, possibly third phase. On the right, we see some of the Christian nationalist groups kind of trying to gain momentum. I think they're at that first phase. I don't know that they'll go anywhere. It might just be the beginning. So in that first phase, when it's trying to be born, even if it's not successful, we at least get to see a glimpse of what those values are. And so this gives us a glimpse into what some of the stories or values that are currently trying to emerge are. And then once you get the ones that are successfully established, like gay marriage, official satanic religion, etc., you start to move more from like the real world phase to the more idealistic phase. And in the fourth phase, you kind of have two groups that, instead of a group trying to get established, you kind of have two types of groups or societies that are more or less established from the start. and they're side by side, and the story kind of moves from one to the other. And Northrop Frye uses the phrase the green world, which he takes from Shakespeare and his comedies, because there's a lot of running off into the woods or the forest or some kind of magical fairyland or something. And I like that term. So it's this is, you have your existing society, but you also have the green world that you can escape to, which is your set of values. Like the gays had the gay bars. This stream is trying to be kind of a green world for neurodivergent people, where we have the existing neurotypical society, but side by side with that, it's not better or worse. It's just an alternate set of needs, values, etc. We have this little other world that people can step into. You had that with like the jazz age and prohibition. You had this other world they could step into. So anytime you have like an existing world and then this alternate society coexisting with it that characters can step into, you're kind of at that fourth phase, and it starts to kind of look like they're centered around these cosmic polarities that are somehow always there from the start. Like, even think about our political parties here in the US. They're kind of containers that different groups and values repurpose from each generation and use, but they're kind of on a horizontal plane. And the yin yang symbol, or that like universal like polarity of opposites, whatever, those like yin yang, male female, etc. That's all happening on that horizontal fourth phase plane. When you get to the fifth phase, you start to have one of those worlds or planes become clearly superior to the other, and a hierarchical view starts to develop. And if you remember that personality map we're looking at, a lot of the stories about personal development are fourth phase, fifth phase type of stories, where we see two sets of values and then we begin to choose between one of them because they seem higher or superior to the others. Like for me, logic and rationality seem superior to belief and imagination with no evidence. So for me, there's a clear hierarchy between a group or society centered around rational values and critical thinking versus a group that's centered around, I'm just gonna say it, conspiracy theorists, etc. Or let's just say modern mythologists. There we go. And that's kind of after the societies are established anyway. So I think for our purposes, a lot of our stories are going to center around those first few phases. Like this stream, even, this is trying to get established. This might fizzle out. This might end up being a first phase story where nothing happened. Life goes on as normal and it was a nice try. Or it may get established where we get monetized, we get some growth, a viable community starts to form, as I think it already is, and we become kind of established as an alternative to an existing society, but not really with the goal of displacing it. And then maybe we move up from there. We become successful enough to kind of define a new standard of what's possible with mental health and neurodivergence and autism and all that stuff. So it's a kind of way of tracking this story too, or your own story in the Panelverse. And then you reach the final phase. So at that fifth phase, you kind of start to, the fourth and fifth phase, you kind of start to get this cosmic view with kind of universal opposites. And then this hierarchical set of values where you start to find your higher path and go one way or the other. And eventually, as all things do, things must wither and disintegrate, dissolve, and die. And that is what the sixth phase is. It's looking at an existing, successfully established, desirable society that started out in that first phase, that's kind of reached its end. It's time to break it up. And it doesn't always maybe break up. Sometimes it exists in small little pockets. Think of things like the Hasidic Jews, the Amish, the little pocket, the Cajuns, the little pockets of traditional cultures, maybe the Orthodox, the Greek Orthodox, that kind of still exist, but in very small pockets, very small numbers, maybe like the medieval studies society, stuff like that. They were once parts of a great established, positive, free individual society. They reflected very positive values, but they no longer fit into the modern world. It could also be not even a group, but an individual, maybe a solitary individual, maybe a single scholar. Wallace Stevens, the poet, has the phrase, a scholar of one candle. It could be maybe a single person that's just keeping some little niche hobby alive, or some little niche value from the past going, maybe some musical style or artistic style or something. So that's kind of what happens in that six-phase comedy. You start to see the little fragments of a previously existing society, which still has benefit because you can still draw value from it, but it is just not the new dominant form of society. So those are your 6 phases, and I kind of just want to sketch them out because what I really want to do is see them in practice. So as we tell our stories on the Panelverse, now that I put them out there, I want to just kind of start getting in the habit of maybe identifying that sounds like an early phase, or that sounds like that 4th phase where both groups are starting to get their own established kind of power base, I guess. Nietzsche has the concept of will to power, which is also a good way of working with this, like competing wills to power. However you want to play with this. This is to play with, experiment with. It is not dogma. It is an offering. That's it. I think I'm going to stop there today. And no show tomorrow, by the way. I have to work. I may do an evening stream, but there won't be a regular day stream. And so maybe I'm going to try to pick back up with topics on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about the values that this society is trying to establish, but from the point of view of the individual. And that's where we get the individual hero and the hero's journey and quest romance. And that story shows up a lot in our modern world. And like Jordan Peterson and this kind of mythopoeic movement that's been around for a while. Or I should say it has shown up until recently, because there's sort of a movement or a push or an attempt to stigmatize it now. So we'll talk about that tomorrow when we talk about romance, or I'm sorry, Wednesday. I'm going to post the link to the panel. We'll get it going. And day 3 of Pride. Let's get the party going. Come on up. And then I'm going to catch up on comments. Alrighty. Oh, Mexican woman with a Jewish last name. Women give you mean vibes. Yeah, me too. But you know what? I'm told it's because I give them mean vibes. And so like but that's my whole problem with the issue, is they're reacting to something about me that's not my problem, not my business, at least in a free and open society. And I'm not doing anything to them. I'm not taking any kind of action toward them. It's all subjective in their head. It's all vibes. And based on that, they start to give me mean vibes, or start to react in response to whatever vibes they're getting from me. So it's kind of like a no-win situation. And it's not all women, but it is a certain subtype. Okay, Brandon, yeah, I don't think you're going to come up on the panel today. It'd be good to go find some other panels to go on. So I'm going to send you on your way. I talked about that at the beginning. I don't know if you caught it, so you can go back and watch. All right, let me see. I did news. I did Twitter. I did topics. I stayed pretty much within the time limit I wanted to. Let's see. Oh, I'm catching up on stuff. So. Yeah, not anymore, Brandon. It's time to wean you and send you on your way. Like you've made it to the next phase. We tried our thing here, and it was good for a while, but it really is time to move on to the next thing. You successfully gave us a taste of the Looney Tunes channel. My thing, what I'm trying to do here is not Looney Tunes related. So there's a very large panelverse out there. Go explore it and see what you find. And feel free to come in the comments and say hi and share with us. But I need my panel back. I really do. I say as I sit here by myself with nobody on it, but still, I need my. I'm a Satanist. This is my pentagram. Speaking of, I was listening to this podcast today. In fact, I'll put the link. There's something going on in the Satanic Temple. And it sounds to me like kind of the same model that's going on in these other groups, the atheist movement, the gamer community, the autism community, the mental health community, this stream, where kind of some wokeness or maybe some feminism. I have always said this. When I joined the Satanic Temple, I started interacting with them. Like the first day I started interacting with them in the Discord, I noticed the wokeness and I said something. And I've always said how woke and progressive the Satanic Temple seems to me. And apparently that woke monster that incubated there is turning on the straight white guy that created it. And so now it's a Frankenstein's monster of wokeness. And the creator, it's kind of gotten away from its creator. So there's some kind of implosion or division happening. So I'm going to post this link. I was listening to it earlier. I didn't get to finish. This is just an audio podcast, but if you're interested in it, it has the information. Or one person's version of the information talking about stories. So yeah, see, this would be the tragic part of the quadrant where successfully established something starts to break down or fall. Usually it's an individual, like a leader that represents a group or a society or set of values. It's much more dramatically interesting to watch an individual that we can relate, identify with, or kind of cast ourselves into fall, because then we can start to process those own emotions in ourselves. And Aristotle had the concept of catharsis related to tragedy. And Nietzsche had the Apollonian and Dionysian concept, which I thought about using, but I want a new modern version of that. And I think we have several different terms, and I don't think we even need a single term. Well, I'm going to keep it going for till the hour mark. And if not, I'm going to go back and watch Survivor with Frank in the Discord. And I will be back on Wednesday with another topic and another open panel, vacant panel. Well, let me see if I can pull up some questions. Or if you have any questions or comments, topics, ideas, you know what to do. All right, let's see. How would your family and friends describe you? Well, believe it or not, and this is a good example of like stories and culture and stuff. Back home and growing up, I was the quiet one. I was wild. We were all kind of wild. I wasn't any more wild than anyone else, but I definitely had a lot of energy. So I wasn't like the quiet, sit in a corner and read a book kind of quiet, although I was that too. But I was the quiet, nerdy one, and kind of the shy one. And up here, I'm like the big, loud extrovert that when I walk into a room, like everybody just flinches and cringes because my personality is so intense. So that kind of goes to show like the just moving from one culture to another. I didn't change at all, but just the stories that culture has about those traits are completely different in one culture than another, and then I have to figure out how to adjust or react to that, which it's 15 years later and I'm still trying to do that. Hey Sean, what's up?
What's up?
Oh,
Hang
you're
on a minute.
echoing. I forgot about your
Oh, my phone is still broken. All right, I'll have to
oh, what do we do?
I just gotta get a new phone probably or earphone. Well, I'll take off my.
Okay. I don't know if we'll be able to have a conversation today.
Hello. Is it better now?
No,
All right. Bye.
it's like it's worse. Okay, sorry about that. I appreciate the attempt. I would have loved to talk. Because that's another, yeah, Sean, climate change. The climate activists. Y'all have a certain set of stories that you believe are more truth oriented and more, I guess, better for the long term of individuals and stuff. And you're fighting these established tyrannical corporations and countries and governments. So your little climate movement is kind of a first phase, maybe trying to get to second phase. There's probably some official global climate organizations that are established, etc. So you could look at it through several of those lenses, depending on the stories you're trying to tell, and look at your climate. Hello, Chris.
What's up?
What's up with you? How are you?
Fine.
You seem better.
Yeah, well, I shaved some.
You look better. Are you physically okay? How's your cold? Did you get over your cold? Do you still have fever, aches? Are you?
I still have some fever. I have a doctor gave me like one of those Z packs, the anthraziphermorphin, whatever it's called. I don't know, but supposedly he said like that should knock the rest of it out. But kind of feels achy and crappy until like it works. But
hopefully, you're at the end of it.
yeah, I mean, it's not just been me either. I thought it was just something that was local, but apparently Bex had the same thing. And
I talked to a friend on the phone the other night, and he was getting over something too.
Yeah. So it's whatever this is. Like, I mean, I really thought it must be like I really thought like I must have gotten COVID again for a minute, but they said I was COVID free.
Right.
So.
Well, how would your friends and family describe you growing up?
How they describe what?
You growing up.
Me growing up?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you.
This is your chance to talk about yourself.
Sure. Well, my mom says whenever I was 3 or so, my dream, what I wanted to grow up to be was Guy Smiley from Sesame Street, game show host, and I was also obsessed with The Price is Right. So I was.
Bob Barker or Rod Roddy?
Bob Barker.
Oh. Yeah,
Barker
was the man growing up. He really was. Like he was such a fixture. He was like God. You just took it for granted that there was always a Bob Barker and always will be. He was like your child mind image of God.
He always reminded everybody to get their pets neutered and to get themselves laid.
Get them neutered and sprayed. Yes, indeed. Spray your pets.
But while he's just surrounded by all these like potties, he's got all these hot women around him, and he's like this old man, just like he's got like he's got that swinging vibe, He's just like.
That's where Dylan Mulvaney got his start. He was a little gay contestant.
But that was on Drew Carey's Price is Right. Drew Carey's Price is Right. I mean, I like Drew Carey, but I don't like him as a host of Price is Right. He's too dorky. He doesn't have that suave. Like I fight if Drew Carey from the host Price is Right when I was a kid, I wouldn't have wanted to be a game show
me
host.
neither. It would not. No, you're right. Not a bit. It wasn't even just a TV show. It was like an entire family experience. It was like a whole. It was like church. It was.
Yeah.
There was a whole ritual.
Oh man,
around
I'd still probably, if I was still in the area, I'd still probably try to go on it. I would just.
In fact,
even with Drew Carey hosting it, it would be awesome to go on The Price is Right. I'd do it.
I might be risking a copyright strike, but I'm going to share this video.
Like the dream is to play Plinko, even though no one ever wins Plinko, but that's somehow the dream, you know. Win Plink is to get Plinko as your game.
Let me see if here. Keep talking. I need to do a test to see if this is the.
You gonna play the Del Mulvaney Club?
He died and thought see him and
Del Mulvaney was just Chris Crocker for this.
leave her alone.
And he's gone now, just like Chris Crocker is. So. Guys and friends that knew Chris Crocker.
Really?
Yeah, Justin and Logan knew him. They went to several meetings with him, like for the merch company they worked with.
All right, I think I found it. It's just audio, but hope I get away with this. It's on YouTube, so it should be safe, right?
You're fine.
We'll find out. It's just audio.
The price is right. Come get a prize. Might as well jump up and holler, honey, you want some merchandise. Lord, come get your prize. There goes the love. Girl, she's just so pristine. My Bach is old, he is so old. And the announcer is just a drag queen or something. She's old too. How do you do?
But you know what's fucked up about Bob Barker though, and I didn't know this until that girl I knew was in prison in Vegas. Is that Bob Barker? Bob Barker is a.
And he will help you guess the price of the car without actually telling you. Just watch his hands. That's how he do. Bob Barker, the price is right. Have your pet spayed or neutered. I love to look at that show, honey, with them big models. Honey, when they get them hips on them, they get fired off of that show. Bob don't play that. Guess the price. Guess the price. Yeah.
The funny thing about Bob Barker though is that he's actually.
All right. I hope I don't get a copyright for that.
Yeah,
but
me too. But
I'm going to risk it. That is Shirley. Yay. Yes, Miss Shirley. I'm from Shirley country. She used to call into our radio station.
But
what's up?
Bob Barker's a prison kingpin. He owns a bunch of private prisons.
He owns the Las Vegas.
No, is he? Wait, he's not around anymore, is he?
No, I don't know. I don't know if he's still alive or not.
This year, I think he passed or last year. Let's see.
But the girl that I bailed out of prison in Vegas, like she said that.
Yeah, last year.
They have it was 4 years ago, but they have a picture of a big picture of Bob Barker, a big framed like oil painting of Bob Barker on the wall as like their owner, as like this big like a.
Oh, the prison supply company that supplies the stuff to the prisoner. Yeah, I had heard about that. Toiletries, bedding, cleaning supplies, uniforms.
What a weird thing, right? Like he's like hosts The Price is Right and also supplies prisons with supplies. Like it's just a weird.
It's a weird hustle.
It's a weird hustle. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Rodney. What's that movie he did?
Ladybugs.
Not Ladybugs. Wally Sparks.
Wally Sparks. Okay, yeah, that's good one too. I love Rodney Dangerfield. I haven't liked him. I didn't like him in Natural Born Killers, even when he was like being. Yeah. I didn't like that movie that much. But.
Yeah, he was for a comedian. He sure pulled off a creepy role.
Yeah, he did.
So what's going on today? How is the movie watching? I tried watching Brokeback Mountain, and it was it made me want to go camping. And maybe want to go camping. Dude, the scenery was gorgeous.
Maybe you want to go camping and meet a cowboy daddy of your own.
Yeah, like sleep with the sheep, except not by myself. Hey, Moose.
What's going on, dude?
Welcome, welcome. What's up with you? What do you have
Not
going on
too
today?
much.
You always have something interesting.
Nah, today is just trying to get through today. I was up at like 1 a.m. I lost my dinner or whatever. I guess my body doesn't really want shrimp anymore. So,
Are you
so
sure
you want
you don't have the cold that everybody else is getting? Because like I've spent the last 2 weeks like throwing up almost everything solid I try to eat. So,
well,
maybe it's a panel virus.
I think
yeah,
I'm
panel virus. Nah, I don't think mine's a virus because mine was just like overnight. It was just one time. And I kind of had a feeling like when I was eating the shrimp, I was like, something in my brain was
Oh,
like,
you
there's something, and then, yeah, so nothing really too interesting.
oh,
But I still
That's
chose to man up and go to work and take care of the work day. And
damn.
yeah, so I came home, took a little nap, and then I saw you guys on. And I want to be
hope you
honest. Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
You first.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I was just I was struggling to be honest, because I was like, you know, I don't want to offend you, Jeff. With like being Pride Month and stuff. And I'm not really like against anything, but I'm not really like I don't relate, like I don't know how to I don't know how to put myself into your shoes, and I don't know. So I didn't want to really be offensive to you. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, we've been talking about this the last couple of days though. We're saying like we're all for the abolishment of like it being like Gay Pride Month and just being like just
I
proud.
think we should have straight. I think straight people should be included. I'm
Yeah.
not offended at all. I
Just pride, just general. If you're gonna have a Pride Month, it should be all inclusive. It shouldn't be
Well,
pride for just any group of people.
But I'm not
Yeah.
sure what shoes I'm in. That I would try to help you out, but I'm not even sure what shoes you're trying to put yourself in.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know either. I just know that like I feel like the whole Pride Month is kind of like very similar to like Black History Month in my opinion. And while I think that people have been subjugated and treated wrongly and stuff like that, right? I think that corporations are using it and they're co-opting the movement, and they're basically getting people to go out and spend money on stupid shit like, the whole flag thing, like how much money does it cost for that, right? And then add that to all the other stuff, all the extra stuff people buy just because it's like, hey, this is a holiday, right? And
yeah.
it's like Christmas. So I think that's where it is for me. It's like if people are accepting of themselves, if they accept themselves for who they are, if they're not harming anybody else, I have no problem with it. But I just don't know how to I don't know how to celebrate,
Yeah, well,
Two different
no. I mean,
responses.
why would you're not even part of that group? Why would you celebrate at all?
This is our guest spot.
Right.
That's not
Right.
even your culture.
Hi, baby. Hey,
And
friend.
see that's the perfect answer. And I think more people need to hear that though. I think more people need to hear, hey, it's okay that there's a holiday for me. There's a holiday for this. There's a holiday for that. Not every holiday is going to be for everyone.
There's
But
a
Yeah.
national hot dog.
I don't do anything for Black Pride Month. I mean, I should. If any of us should, I should be doing it, but I don't. Like, I don't celebrate every single group's holiday. And I made this space for people to get away from pride and to celebrate themselves. Like, I think everybody take this month to celebrate yourself, whatever you are. It doesn't have to be just LGBT. Just take it as an opportunity to celebrate your unique. Celebrate straight pride. Celebrate being white. Celebrate whatever male. If they can celebrate gay, you can celebrate whatever you want during this month as well. Is how I
I
look
want
at
to
it.
celebrate
And I want this to
surviving.
be a place where people can celebrate that, whatever they.
But you know what color the straight pride flag is, right? They did include us on the flag at one point, and it was
Is it purple?
beige.
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 Oh,
I think
beige.
It was beige.
Did you say Survivor, Moose? Celebrate
no, I
being a
said,
survivor.
oh yeah, I'm gonna celebrate surviving the
Yeah,
day.
that's what that I think that's awesome. Like your story today about still going into work. I was gonna tell any of the guys out there watching, the younger people that are looking for some kind of positive, a man doing shit, getting it done, and taking responsibility. Look no further.
It's not
So
easy,
they're out there.
and it's not glorious either. I think I took 2 Red Bulls and a fucking liter of water and went to it.
Well, Vic Ferrari, that's a hell of an avatar, man.
Oh, thank you, brother. So it's actually a self-portrait. Anyway, Jeff, it's good to see you, Jeff.
That
You
looks
too,
just
Vic.
like my
Welcome.
brother, dude. That looks just like my brother.
So I was going to come up and say that I'm celebrating Gay Pride Month by getting my nails done and redecorating my house, but I decided to go a different direction, and because you guys started talking about Black History Month too. For me, it's not even really about, like, say, celebrating. It's just recognizing the equality in other people that may be different than me. And like I told you before, I grew up in San Francisco, so for the first 30 years of my life, I was exposed to all sorts of different types of people, religions and ethnicities and sexual preferences, and back then, I mean, there
I'm
was a
from
lot
right
of
there, dude. San Jose, right
Yeah.
next to you.
Oh, right on. I lived in San Jose for a few years. I lived in Almaden Valley for 7 years.
Yeah, man. There is a lot of there's a ton of culture out there. There's a ton of like
Mhm.
different ways to live, man. That's
Right.
the one thing I like about California, but people don't really
Mhm.
like each other. So that's where I want to turn this around. Like, you guys are accepting, right? You guys are like, cool. It's all it is just like just be knowledgeable of the fact that people had shit hard, and they're human
Yep.
too, right? But then there's a lot of other
Sure.
people that are trying to make it like a little crazier, and like that's where I'm kind
Sure.
of just like I'm just kind of gonna go through this month and just not offend people, because it doesn't make sense to offend somebody for no reason, unless there's some kind of outcome that you guys are both looking towards. Like, just being a dick just to be a dick, it doesn't make me feel good. And even
Right.
saying
But I think
something that's on my mind that I don't mean to offend somebody, so I'm
Yeah,
holding back.
you're talking about like crazy, like ramping up the craziness.
There's
I think
two
we could
things for me
support-
that have ruined pride. It's the activist and corporate. I call it corporate pride and the corporations, like Moose said.
But I
And the
But I
pride
believe
used
we
to
could
be
support-
fun until those
Well,
two
the
things
kink
happen.
people. And the
I
kink
wish
people.
we could
science. Oh, sorry.
Not the kink people. I'm one of them.
Yes.
Right, but we could
But
support.
I do agree it doesn't belong out in public like that.
But we can support Pride without wearing or waving flags,
absolutely.
and we can support Black Heritage Month without running around in Malcolm X and
Or
Barack
not.
Obama T-shirts.
You
We
can
can
I mean, if people want to do that, that's
without whipping our dicks out too.
Right.
Moose, you
Right.
work with the
Well-
public.
well. I
right?
don't know. I don't know. Hmm.
From
Hang
a
on,
sci-
Moose. You
Okay.
work with the public, right? So is there like you see it every day, and is there pressure to like play along with it or go along with it?
Well,
as part of
bro,
your job?
like the other day, like a person who is in the process of transitioning came in, right? And I looked up, and it looked like a man to me, right? And so I said, "Sir," but then
Uh-oh.
I looked up to the middle region, right? The chest region, and I was like, "Oh, there's some bumps there." And I noticed that I just noticed that I fucked up, and I was like, man, like, I do shit like that, not like
You didn't
not
fuck
out of
up. You were going
knowing.
with what your eyes were
Well,
telling you.
what was the
I know,
reaction?
but-
What was the reaction of the person? That, to me, that's the more interesting part of the story.
Well, the funny thing is because as I looked up to the chest region, I was like, I immediately said, you know what? I said, I am so sorry, miss. I'm just so tired today. And she just smiled. Whatever.
Good.
That's
Person
good.
smiled.
That's good.
Right.
That's right.
If they
That's
would've
the
got-
appropriate reaction, in my opinion. Yes.
If they would have got mad, I would have said, "That's not very ladylike."
right. Yeah. There you go.
Plus, like
See,
science,
I could deal with
science.
that. I can deal with Jeff. I can deal with Chris. I can deal with you, Vic. I can deal with Lanza. Like I can deal with you guys because like I don't know. You guys get that I'm not trying to hurt nobody. You know, I'm just trying to
No,
like
I
get
don't.
my thoughts
I don't
out.
know.
I'd rather hang out with you than most of the gays. At
And
Pride.
really,
I
it's
mean, I got
science. I'm sorry,
I
real
got
quick.
boobs and I go by
Okay.
I got boobs and I go by he. So I mean, you know, it's covered.
But like my thing is like I wish science would finally catch up, you know, because science kind of always seems to, for whatever reason, good or bad, seems to always be lacking. So I wish they'd hurry up and find the gay gene, you know, because then, like, what if the normal gene is actually those ladies that cut their dicks into vaginas?
But see, I
Huh.
would argue that like, how would we reproduce then? You know what I mean? Like, it's
Well, I'm
not
saying,
even a
yeah,
weird. At that point, it's just reproduction. Like, you have to keep going. You know, if
Yeah.
it's like
everybody
what if
chopped
what
their
about
heads
like
Straight people for that.
what do you guys
I
think
bet the
about
gay
like?
genes are skin. I think the gay genes are skinny genes. That's what I think they should look for.
That's funny.
Skinny keeps your
What do you
mouth
what do you
like-
think about like the feminization of foods and stuff like this? I mean, I think that plays a part in like sometimes in a system like a child system that is still developing, where it could like alter the pituitary
Like
gland,
eating it soy milk. What's the feminization
like
of food?
like chemicals, man. The chemicals are not good. I don't know.
Soy,
I don't.
soy, for instance, is actually it's incredibly bad for your. I think it's called the endocrine system,
Oh yeah.
and it's really not good for us to eat it. And the amounts that they give it to us in like Chinese food and like various like soy milk and all these like secondhand soy products that they make these days. All that stuff is not good for you. It's not good for ladies. It messes with their like
Well, I think
cycle
that
and
raw
stuff.
edamame. I don't think raw edamame is bad, but I think it's when it's processed into like the white soy protein is whatever it gets. Like there's something changes it.
I like soy.
Yeah, I mean, most plants
It's like
aren't bad
the soybeans
until you
don't
start
soybeans
adding
don't
all
make me
the.
feel a little weird or anything. So, but
Look
eating
at the
like
box.
eating like stuff made of that soy crop, that soy white cream cheese looking shit. That stuff makes me feel weird. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like the feel of it.
Cream cheese.
It looks like cream cheese. Yeah, like whenever they process the
Like
soybeans,
gelatin.
it turns
Yeah.
into like a gelatin type stuff, and they deep
You
fry
talking
it.
like tofu?
Which I love.
Yeah.
I love deep fried.
He's talking tofu.
I don't know. That doesn't sound very appetizing. Anyway, hey, I'm going to drop down. I just wanted to come up and just say those things and say hi to Jeff. So just one last thing before I go. When you talked about walking in someone else's shoes, I don't know that that's necessary, but I think it's important that we recognize ourselves in others. And that way, the divine of the difference, the divide shrinks. So that would be my suggestion to you.
Amen.
Unless we're
All right, guys.
recognizing like the parts of ourselves.
Thanks
we
for
don't
coming
wanna
up, Vic.
Yeah, thanks, Vic. Good to see.
Like that was a
Yeah,
good conversation.
You're welcome
Man.
anytime, man.
Yeah, it was.
And
Thank you.
board of encouragement. Do we know you?
That's Lanza.
That's
Oh, that's
Lanza.
Lanza. Okay. Lanza changes his name every single damn time.
That's
can't
not
tell.
know
Already
Lanza.
said his name.
I
All
know
right,
the pattern
so-
by now. Change is the pattern.
I want to stay on what Vic was talking about, right? He said, "Oh, you don't have to like be in someone else's shoes. Just kind of, you know." I forgot. I didn't hear what the last part he said. But now that I ride a small motorcycle to work almost every
What?
single day. Yeah, you want to see it? I'll show you.
Yeah, you have it. I'm so every time you talk, I get more and more.
All right, let's see.
Damn,
This
I want
is
to garden and ride a motorcycle.
oh, it's not even gonna show you, huh? Hold on, I gotta get on the
no, it's
Wi-Fi.
blank.
Is it gonna be like that small one from Dumb and Dumber?
Crotch rocket.
Jonathan says I need to chill. Was I being unchill?
70 miles to the gallon on this hog.
You're the one rocking today. I'm like sitting here all calm.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling real. I'm feeling real.
I wonder if that's like there's some kind of spooky action at a distance going
I don't know,
on.
man.
When I stop rocking,
will-
you start.
I woke up trembling today, so
Okay, I'm gonna restart. Add me back.
Okay. Yeah, recognize ourselves and I think that's part of the problem here is people recognizing themselves and others. that's where we get into that projection, that transference and counter transference, projective identification, mirroring, and all that shadow stuff that happens over
You
here.
gotta get Jeff his watch.
Well, it's a. I slept from like 11:30 last night all the way until like 1:30 today, Jonathan. And I kept waking up during dreams, so like I kept waking up in like from REM straight into waking, and that always makes me feel shaky. And so, thank you,
Yes,
guys.
absolutely. I need to you and Chuck, no, Talcott, catch up. You're the only one left. Even Machine trimmed a little bit, I noticed.
Yeah, no, yeah, Machine's looking real good too.
Maybe he needs a woman's touch or a gaze.
Or a Muppet.
Her Muppet. A Muppet's touch.
I'll be nice to Ken, Daniel.
Okay, people can have the opinions of Ken they have because he invites a lot of it. He's a very would complex be the wrong word?
No, I mean that word works. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay. Oh man. How far is your work? How many miles do you ride it?
Like 7 or 8.
Wow. Damn.
Let's see.
I bet it gets like 70 miles per gallon, right?
It gets 110.
110, yeah. Yeah, that's the reason I've always wanted to have like a little moped like that. 110. 110 miles per gallon.
I think he's being serious.
No,
he
he
seemed
is.
quite taken with him yesterday.
It is. It doesn't have a gallon tank though. It only has 0.9 gallons.
So it's a
So,
Muppet.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
moped, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a moped. It's
I've always
classified as a motorcycle because it's over 100. It's over 100 cc's, over 50 cc's, and it's gas and all that. But so I got to get a motorcycle license or whatever. I've been riding dirty. Got
been
insurance.
riding
So.
dirty. Shit,
Riding
dude. Riding dirty, you know.
Oh, he
Yeah,
did.
I mean,
He's
when you're
still in the
a
man bun phase.
gotta
He's
do it.
still in the shining phase.
Yeah, he's definitely in the shining phase. He's coming out of it.
I hope so. He has great
See,
potential.
The thing is the funniest thing is people always want to gatekeep.
Yeah. Huh? Who are they? Get out of my way.
I've always wanted to get one of those. The actual. What I always thought was a moped was like meant the. What do they call the ones that have like the two wheel? Basically, it's a motorized tricycle. That's what I want.
Oh, the
The
slingshot.
The hover round.
The slingshot.
No,
Look it up,
like
slingshot.
I'm talking like Harley even makes them. I saw a guy the other day who was riding a Harley Davidson that had two wheels in the back and one wheel in the front.
Oh, okay. No, the slingshot I think is 2 tires in the front, 1 in the back. But
Yeah, that's right. Slingshot that way. I'm talking about like those like they're called choppers, right? That's what they're called, choppers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
get
I always wanted a chopper.
now that I'm
Because that
riding
way
this
I
to
wouldn't
work,
have to worry
right?
about wiping out.
What's going on behind you?
I don't know.
There's a light bulb that I got, and for some reason when you
always
plug it into the thing, it does
Bro,
this.
you got like a rave going on at your house.
It's like a strobe light, and I don't know why. It just does that. We can't figure out why. I bought this
Before we
light bulb,
lose
and
track
it
of
just does
Vic's
that.
slot, I want to finish this point real quick. So I
Okay.
drive that to work every day, right? 7 miles there, 7 miles back. Takes me like 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. But before I got a bike, I did not know how scary it was being on 2 wheels, having like huge trucks around you that, people on their cell phones, people not paying attention to traffic, all kinds of stuff, right? And so like that's kind of like the same way like I'm trying to say where I try to walk in other people's shoes. Like I would have never known this experience had I not had it, had I not just decided to go do that, right? And now my whole life has changed because now every time I go on the road, I'm thinking differently. I think 100% differently. When I'm in my truck, I think like I'm on a motorcycle. If I see a motorcyclist, I treat them with the utmost respect. I will ride behind them and make sure that they have a nice clearance. Like it's these things that I think more people need the experiences, and they need to be able to if you want to understand how somebody else feels or how you like how somebody else
Okay,
lives life or whatever, you got to be able to like try to do these things, right?
I agree. But what about those assholes that like they're on like little like cross rockets and they try to zip throughout traffic and they try to like zip around everybody?
Oh yeah, just
Yeah.
like
They're probably better for the climate.
teenagers.
Yeah. I mean,
Motorbikes
those
are
guys piss me
extremely
off. Those guys
dangerous.
piss me
I
off.
hate Moose. He always comes up here and shows me up. I'm developing a hatred for you now.
It wasn't
I
about
try
showing
that.
you
Moose,
up.
which I do that with pedestrians and drivers. When I'm in a car, I fucking hate pedestrians. I want to run over every one of them. They annoy me. And when I'm a pedestrian, those cars better get out of my way. I have right away. I'm gonna take it. I don't care what you think. I am not able to make that switch that you're talking
from
about when you
Vegas,
suddenly start to understand both sides. And what you just did was beautiful, and it frustrates me because it's like the thing I'm trying to attain that's just out of my reach.
But
But good job.
I still get angry too. Like he said, those people that are speeding down the street trying to make everything dangerous. Like all I get angry at those people, and yeah, I'm not gonna say one of these things on the
I
air
don't
'cause
feel that way
I don't
about
want to incriminate
pedestrians.
myself.
I don't feel that way about pedestrians, but I feel that way about the assholes and like in all the bicycle riding gear that ride like that go like that want to get in the main lane.
Oh, they have
Go,
those
like
all over
you're like
Seattle.
5 miles per hour, and like you're supposed to like stay behind
It's
them.
cognitive
And
empathy. That's what it is that you're able to achieve by.
Oh, I can't do that for cyclists. Cyclists are a different breed, and
Yeah.
like I absolutely hate most of them because most of them they feel like they're entitled. They have more power than you. Um,
and even when there's bike lanes, they want to ride in like the main lane. And I'm like, there's a
I
fucking
agree with
bike lane right
The
there, bro.
cyclists are constantly fighting everybody here in Seattle. They're like the woke. They have all these demands and this whole cycling ideology and everything.
I just
Well,
remember.
in
I remember
Mexico,
what was it? Who was it that said that beware of all adventures that require new clothes? That's what I think of when I see bicyclists, because you can't be one of them unless you have the whole like outfit. You've got like the spandex like outfit, and like the weird little like the special helmets and all the reflective stuff, and like
I'm
they're
cool
it's
with
like they're
all
part
that
of a
though.
cult.
If they
It's
want to
like they're
dress
in
up
a
like
cult.
a furry, if they want to dress up, they want to have their pink little bows on or whatever they want to do, that's fine with me. But the problem I have with those people is I'm driving on a highway in Mexico, right? It's a 60-mile-per-hour highway, and you come around a blind corner, and these motherfuckers are in the lane, the same
Yeah,
lane that you're
going
supposed to be
like 5
sharing.
miles an
You
hour.
have no
That's
clue that they're
disruptive.
there. You have no clue. And you're going 60 miles an hour and they're going 2 or 3 miles an hour uphill. And so, they put their life in your hands. And then if you hit them, you're the one that has to live with that for the rest of your life.
Except
So, yeah.
for Vegas. In Vegas, a pedestrian or someone on a cycle, if you hit them,
Pedestrian does not have the right of way in Vegas. That's right, and that's why they have those walkways that they build.
Yep. If you hit a cyclist or a pedestrian in Vegas, they get the ticket, not you.
Yeah, but like, dude, imagine this. If I'm coming around a blind corner at 60 miles an hour, I'm making hamburger. I'm not picking somebody up off the road and taking them to a hospital to get better. I'm picking up
That's true.
hamburger. That would scar me for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can handle that, but I cannot handle something like that.
That happened here during COVID. They had some during all that BLM stuff. They had some protests, and the girl.
Hey, Moose, did you eat that
They were
fish?
protesting over a bridge over the interstate or something, and she got hit by
Yes, I did.
a car or something, and she died. They had a memorial for her or everything.
I'm not the only one that ate this fish either. There was about 20 or 30 people.
I bet you fed the village with that shit, man. That's a big ass piece of fish right there.
What kind was it?
Is it a trout?
Is that the one you caught when you were on stream?
It looks like a trout. Is that what it is?
That was down in Mexico. That's a yellowtail. There's no way a trout that big. That thing is almost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and I love yellowtail too. Yellowtail is so good. Makes great sushi. Makes great like
Sides.
makes great fried fish. You can do anything with yellowtail. It's just good no matter how you
I
cook
don't
it.
even like fish in that
That
size.
fish is the first fish that I ever had fresh sushi right out of the ocean. I cut that bitch open and I ate it raw.
What
Just
kind?
like a savage, like an absolute savage. I look like
Savage,
what's that
dude.
dude?
Absolutely.
That dude on Castaway or whatever with Wilson, his little volleyball. That's how
Yeah.
I felt. I felt like I had the jungle in my heart when I was eating that raw. It was like, man, I tell you what.
Who needs ovens?
Who needs a sushi chef? You just like cut into that shit. I've seen them do it in the sushi restaurant before. They ain't doing nothing special. Chop.
Nah, yeah, all you gotta do is cut them in small pieces, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Dang fish killers. Chuck, don't tell me you
great
don't
on
fish.
Survivor.
I know Chuck fishes. There ain't no way Chuck
Yeah,
don't fish.
Chuck. We know you're fishing.
No, I'm talking. Yeah, no, I know that one, the Charlottesville one. I'm talking about here in Seattle. They had a local girl during the
We
COVID
got
protest.
catfish down here.
I forgot her
There
name.
was
I think it was Stephanie or Jennifer.
I had a hotel guest, right, for the last
It was sugar.
4 years that I owned it. The 4 years I owned it, they came every year, right? And this last year, the lady and her husband came, and I was like, "Whoa, you brought your husband this time?" Because usually she brings her best friend, and they take some girls' time out for the weekend or whatever. And he was driving down the road, 2-lane road, 2 lanes on each side, and there was a bicyclist who shot out into the middle of the road, and he saw him at the last second, and he ended up hitting him and killing him. And
damn.
dude, like, I've never seen like I don't think I've seen like a manly man cry before. But I was like, damn, this guy was like, he was telling me, and he was just shattered. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like mitigating damage is like my thing. Like, I want to mitigate damage to people. I want to mitigate like, all the bullshit, and kind of like help shape life into a better life instead of being defeated all the time. Shit. So
Now he's
cyclists,
too inspirational.
don't be cunts. Don't drive in the lane. Don't drive on blind corners and let motorists kill you, because it ain't right.
It ain't right. Y'all ain't right.
Yeah, man. No, I hear you. It's a problem around here too. Like, there's cyclists that do that shit here in Dallas. Like, and they have bike lanes here. They have bike lanes on like almost all the major streets, and yet they won't ride the bike lanes. They'll ride the middle of the street. In paths,
do you think that that's probably because we took the labels off of everything, and we started making everybody like bubble boy, bubble girl, and like we started making it so easily accessible to start lawsuits with each other, and or what do you think? Just the stupidity of man? Do you think we've always been this dumb?
I don't know, but I know I worked with a couple of cyclist type people, and they were more evangelist than any Christian I've ever met. They would like come to you, and they would like, it was like you felt like they were going to give you like documentation like about like about their church. They were going to come and give you like flyers.
They're like Jehovah's Witnesses.
They've always been this way. I think people run off their primitive instincts mostly until there's like some little layer of civilization or rationality to make it go another way. I wouldn't necessarily say dumb. I would just say it's people being people, and it looks dumb to people like us that have other ways of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if they would just stay in the bike lanes and stuff, it really wouldn't bother me.
But don't they have the option? Isn't it like they can ride?
I don't know.
Because they can ride as vehicles.
Motorcycles.
Legally, they're a vehicle. They can be on the road with other vehicles. But then they wanted the bike lanes because there's a size difference, and it's easier to use the bike. But they also have the option to not use the bike lane and ride in the road with the cars too. So they get the option, I think.
But the problem comes
which is dumb because like because like certain scooters you can't take on certain roads. You know, you can't take like a little Vespa on like certain roads. You have to use the bike lane for those, and you have to. And like if you
Well,
get hit,
maybe it depends on the local. I know where I've lived, like when I was studying driving and all that, bikes were treated as vehicles.
yeah, no, they are
You
here
had
too.
to yield to
My
them. They
sister's
had to
driving
learn
bike,
to signal in the traffic with their hand, all of that.
yeah. Oh,
I think we're on the upswing.
so stiff from this fucking sickness.
Hey, and Chuck, you're out there talking about my little trike, my little toy bike or whatever. I just want to say one thing. It's better to start on 100 than to start on 1,000, because I've heard of more people driving home with their 1,000 and they never made it home.
Yeah.
Because speed's not
Smallers
about
are
everything, dude.
better to have a smaller one.
Well, I mean, if you can go 140 miles an hour and you're young and you're full of testosterone and you just got this bike and you want to pump it, and you want to see how fast it goes, yeah, a lot of people do that. Or they just don't know how to churn. They don't know how to counter steer. They don't know how to balance. They don't know how to lean the bike. And so, like, all those things create a hazard for you and everybody else on the road when you don't know how to do those things.
I learned how to ride a
But-
dirt bike when I was really
Chuck
young.
might just be jealous because all he has is that riding lawnmower.
That riding lawnmower takes my back out, dude. I feel bad for him riding that thing.
I was jealous of the lawnmower. I wanted to be out there.
Now, if you have allergies like mine, you don't.
I'm too shut in. Watching people mow grass should not excite me as much as it did.
Yeah,
It's fun though.
I need to get alive here.
If you get a zero churn like lawnmower, it's super awesome because it's way better than having like a steering wheel, because your back's not like stiff the whole time. Your like body's like nice and loose, and you can churn that thing, and you can just, I mean, you're basically cruising down the lawn.
Is that one of the ones that's like the crank type thing? The crank instead of the steering wheel?
Nah, it's not a crank. It's two bars that sit out in front of you, and you can push the bar forward or back. And if you push the bar forward, it'll turn whatever arm you do. So if you push forward on the right, you'll start going left, because the right will start going, and then if you put on the left, it'll start going right.
Gotcha.
I think it's backwards on that one. But it's fun, Jeff. It's fun. Actually, out of all the jobs that I've ever had, I think that was the most peaceful job that I've ever had. Like, downright peaceful.
Forklift?
Maybe I'll get a job mowing grass this summer instead of like a job with a bunch of bureaucracy.
The most peaceful job I ever had was being a projectionist at the movie theater, and that job doesn't exist anymore. That's so sad to me. And then I just watched.
I think it's Mexicans now that are doing it, or Asian around here. I'm trying to think.
Doing what? Like the lawn mowing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually Mexicans.
Like in our generation, it used to be the kid. You could find a neighborhood kid to do it, but now
I did that when I was a kid. I had a push lawnmower, and I used to go around the
I would love to. Maybe this is a great idea. I could look at some landscaping work.
I hate it because I have allergies, though. I have bad grass allergies. So like grass, even wearing a mask, like the grass allergies would get all in my sinuses, and I would just be like miserable for 2 days after mowing grass. So it really wasn't a good idea for me. But okay, we'll have a good nap, Bex.
Oh yeah, take care, Bex. We'll probably see you tonight.
Yeah, me and Bex are gonna watch some more Evil tonight. We watched the rest of season 1 last night.
Satan would be very happy.
Yeah, we're thinking about doing a stream. I don't know how many episodes we can get out of it. We're gonna go to a stream called We Heart Evil.
Oh.
See, this is where you all got me lost. Like, I'm like a child on the light, I'm not into the whole evil stuff. I'm into good.
It's a TV
but
show.
that's what makes me
It's a
perfect
TV
here.
series on NBC.
It's a TV show about a priest and his two agnostic partners they go around debunking like miracles and stuff like that.
Oh,
But
whoa,
at the same
that sounds pretty damn badass.
Yeah, it is. It's a badass show, but it also has some corny parts because there's also evil. Like the evil still exists, and the evil is still out there, and like they debunk most of the stuff, but then there's like tons of stuff where like they never really debunk it at the end of it. Then they're just like, I don't know, weird shit happens. It's very much like it's like the same formula as the X-Files. You remember how the X-Files used to be? You know, it's got a long serialized storyline, but then like there's like individual episodes that sometimes have like a specific like thing they have to like debunk that week. But like a lot of the time those things take place for 3 or 4 episodes too. So it's very serialized.
Keep being a child of the light. Don't, if evil messes with you, just let me know. I'll send demons after them. But don't stray off your path because of us.
Yo, what's up,
I
people?
appreciate that.
I have a new fit.
You have a new fit.
A new what?
Ready? A new fit.
Fit?
All right,
oh my
man,
god!
there we go.
Wow,
There
let me
we go.
see. Yeah, I can support that.
Yeah,
That-
I shaved last night too. Look, I mean, I got rid of the wild mountain beard. So
Save today.
Same.
Bro, it's like that spring summer.
I cut my
haircut.
hair. Oh
I
yeah.
cut my hair a little bit, but I didn't cut it that much. I didn't cut the sides. So
How are you doing, brother?
Doing good. How are you?
Chilling.
You're off today.
Yeah.
no, I didn't ruin the whole show for you, Jonathan. Because that's just the premise of the show. That's
Wait,
like
one
that's
minute.
like the first episode.
What'd you say?
Oh, Jonathan said I basically ruined the whole show for him, the show Evil, and I was like, no, I didn't ruin the show because it goes a lot.
That's a
John-
personal problem.
What's
You
cracking
don't want to do
today?
the whole world tour thing. What world tour thing are you talking about?
Oh, because Jonathan said earlier, like people that don't ride just to work are pretty stupid. So I literally do it's one road pretty much all the way to work, and then pretty much one road all the way back.
Dude,
It's
there was
got
this
a couple turns.
This was back, probably 20 years ago. But like 20 years ago, I was working at this. I was working as a night auditor at a motel, and there was this guy that used to come stay to our hotel all the time, and he used to park like he had a BMW chopper type thing with like the 2 wheels in the back, the 1 wheel in the front thing, and it had this full ass canopy over it with like a stereo surround system in it for like music, and like had like a touch. This was like 20 years ago. This thing looked like a Tesla.
Ben.
It looked like Teslas look like today. Like, and I wanted to ride that thing so bad. That thing looked so fucking badass.
Yo, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, I said Jeff.
I know, but he can hear you.
What? Well, I'll step away.
I have a question. Do you know who Taylor with Stitches and Bitches in True Crime is?
I didn't hear any of that. What?
Do you know who Taylor is? Taylor with
Taylor?
Stitches and True Crime.
No. I don't.
Oh, she's going live at 4:30.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna
you
join
going?
that. Probably join her if I can. That's only if I can. But yo, Chris, why is there an image behind you, bro?
An image?
That's
wife.
scary.
My
That's the
wife.
image he's married to.
Oh, that's your
Hi,
wife?
We're both here.
I thought that actually wasn't. I thought that was a picture.
No, she's
I-
alive.
Pretty as a picture, and she makes
He's
pictures.
real. Real as it gets.
Yeah. Now that we're getting better, we got to go to that gallery here tomorrow or the next day, and we're gonna go.
Maybe the next day or even the day after, so
Hi,
you can
wife.
make sure you're really
How are you?
recovered.
Yeah, but we're gonna
Hi,
go and try and get her a.
Yo, Jonathan. Apparently not, because they're married. Yo, Chris, what's her name?
What's my name? My name is Chris.
No, your wife's name. You need to introduce your
Lindsay.
wife.
Lindsay.
What?
Lindsay.
Hi,
Lindsay.
Lindsay. How are you?
Hi,
I'm
nice to
Ken.
meet you.
I'm Ken. Nice to meet you.
This is like
I'm crazy, Ken. Right, Jeff?
Oh my God, I used to be crazy, Jeff.
let it die, let it die, let it
They used to call Lindsay Spooky Lens.
That's my sister. She's singing crazy.
Scary Lens. They used to call Lindsay Scary Lens in high school.
Remember the one that went like this, Jeff? With the silly goofy.
Oh yeah, the little demon sister. That pops
Yeah,
her
the
face.
demon.
Yeah.
He calls you the demon sister.
Yeah.
She said, "I rebuke in the name of Jesus."
I wish rebuking were that easy.
Hey, Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Having a nice, relaxing day.
Have you found your partner in crime yet?
No. Still looking for my partner in crime and my panel daddy.
I think I deserve nomination for Panel Daddy now. I've got the Panel Daddy. Now.
How about
You
me?
can nominate, but
How about me?
Harsh, dude. Harsh.
I get rejected.
Ken, can you read that for us?
Ooh, she's on. She's talking about tattoo lust.
Daniel, I hope you come
I'll
up
be
one
right
day.
back.
Dude, I was at the gas station earlier, and the guy behind the counter, the guy that
Wait,
checked me out,
hold on, Chris. You just cut off Ken. He
Oh,
was
did I?
over here
I'm sorry.
trying to hit on your
Oh
wife.
no,
and
he
left.
he saw something on another panel.
Ken
He was
fell
just
off.
kidding.
I didn't interrupt him.
Ken can't compete. With,
I'm joking, Chris. I don't know what.
I mean,
I don't
Chris
know
can't
what was
compete
going
with
on
what
with
Ken.
Ken came in for like 5
So wait a
minutes.
minute, you went to the gas station today? I thought you were trying to rest and heal.
I had to go get my medication,
Oh, did you
and I had to get gas.
stream it next time like Talcott did? Y'all could stream it.
But I just went to
Frank
drive.
said he would puppeteer me one day. We were supposed to do it maybe tomorrow, but I'm
Okay.
gonna walk around town and Frank's gonna play me like a video game, like
All right.
Slave did with Talcott.
All right. Well, if that's your funeral, you know.
this your Wyoming
My funeral. We're gonna go try to find black people.
I wouldn't. I mean.
But Talcott was still
I
unsuccessful.
don't think Mere Moose would steer you wrong. I don't trust that Talcott would steer you
I
right.
know I'm putting myself in Frank's hands.
Oh, and Frank's. Oh God, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah,
That's a
it's gonna
terrible
be a
idea.
Frank Jeff hybrid unleashed on the town.
That's gonna be bad, man. It's gonna be real bad.
We'll see. I don't. It's either one of us is. We'll see where the risk comes in.
I'm not saying it's not gonna be entertaining. I'm saying it's gonna be bad for you. But that's whatever.
I'm bored. I'm bored enough to try it. Bored and excited. When I watched that Talcott video, I'm like, this is the future.
No, what I was saying though is when I stopped by the gas station though, the guy that was the cashier, he was on his cell phone real loud, like obviously selling drugs and like yelling.
Did I get
Like,
five?
yeah, how much you guys want, yo? Yeah, how much you want? Okay, you want the usual? All right. Just text me that cell phone number so I know which number you're calling me from when you get here.
Maybe he's a like they have delivery now. Like maybe he was legit. Oh no, you're Texas. Never mind. Y'all don't have recreational, do you? Never mind.
Yeah.
I was trying to steal man or straw.
No,
man.
not in Texas. We don't. And I mean, and he looked like a meth head. So
Chris, why are you being such a hater lately? I mean, he's the candy man. He helps people. He helps the dentist get more people in there.
But it was just funny because I heard him doing this shit whenever I was. But then when we drove back by the gas station, we went down to get the pharmacy. And we came as we're coming back, and I saw him going out to a car and clearly and like obviously selling them drugs. He like ran out we saw him as he was bringing out this car out there and like doing an exchange.
Hey, it was a nice car too.
I was like that.
Man, you should have streamed it. That was way better than anything Talcott ran into.
Well, I didn't have time to. I was driving.
Maybe the little beer truck.
What kind of car did he run out to, Chris? It wasn't a beater, was it? Because usually people buying drugs, they got a nice car like a Porsche or.
No, it was a beater.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they were doing drugs.
Meth dealers are different than other dealers, dude. Like it's a different game.
Yeah, they drive like a Ford truck in the front and like a Camry in the back.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So, Yeah,
You
it
never
was.
seen that,
It was.
Jeff?
I just
Never
thought it
seen
was
what
hilarious.
freakers
Like,
do?
I was like, this place is gonna get raided in like days. Like, there was no way that they were gonna get away with this very long. Like, this is.
They get rated like
None of the druggies I hung out with had cars. I was the one that ended up driving them around in my old beat up Ford Tempo.
I've been that guy before. I'm not ashamed to say it. I am a little ashamed to say it, but I've been that guy before. I've been the driver before. I had like a long odyssey into the darkness back years and years back. Whenever like I didn't realize
I drove a friend to buy crack, and he didn't even tell me.
Like I didn't know that's what I was doing.
He's
He
like,
was
"Will you
"Hey,
take
man,
me to
can you
my
give me a
friend's
ride?"
house? I have to go like pick up something." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Sure." And
Yeah.
pull in the driveway. I'll just be a minute. He's in there buying crack. He comes out with the crack and gets in the car. Like, I didn't know I was taking you to do a crack deal.
Well, this was the guy that was selling, and he told me he just needed to ride one place. Then we went to one place, and he's like, "Oh, I need to go somewhere else." And I was like, "Okay." And it was at like the third stop, and I was like, "Oh, I know what's going on now." And yeah, I got stuck. I got stuck there because like the dude kind of scared me a little bit. So I just got stuck as his chauffeur for the day, and it was real like I could write a whole movie script about that night. That was like
I think they did that movie Go, where
it was kind of like that, except there was no rave that we went to. It was just scary.
Like Go without the rave.
Yeah, it was just scary apartment complexes and shit. Yeah, and I got back home that night and like was just like you won't believe the day I've had. You know, I was kind of shaken up because like he pulled a gun on somebody a couple times and I was like scared out of my wits. That was like one of the last times I ever like hung out with those people. But, you go see the cat again?
Sounds like a
Is that the
nice
raccoon?
boy.
Is that the one that screams? Or the
I'm here right now. It's the angry one.
I think you're
That
being
looks,
too hard on your friends, Chris. I think those sounded like nice gentlemen.
It's just like Toots.
It's just a crabby cat.
It's a crabby cat. Doesn't like being picked up.
It doesn't like it if you're somewhere they're not.
Wow.
When we pull into, I said honk 3 fast and 2 long. I've had that happen before too. I had a friend like that too. Yeah, he would like it wasn't exactly that. He was like yeah, you just gotta honk it. You gotta go like bump 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 and then bump bump or something like that. And I was like okay.
And what's that gonna do? Like
it was like a signal for them to come out, right? There's a signal.
Like if a cop shows up,
yeah.
They're just gonna come out.
I did what he said, but he said like, no, you ain't doing it right. He leaned over, he did it on his own. It sounded just like what I did. And then nobody ever came out, and then cops started showing, and then the cops were in the parking lot, and we were like, I was like,
that's what I'm saying. By the time the cops get there, what's a honk gonna do? They're like, so what if they have a warning? They're already there.
We just stayed quiet we turned the lights out and stayed in the car for like 20 minutes till the cops like moved on, and then we got the fuck out of there. And I was
good thing you weren't with Joe Cool.
This was 20 years ago. I mean, this was a long time ago. Like we didn't even have touchscreen cell phones yet. You know, we had like this is when we were still rocking like flip phones. So.
Woo!
Flip phones, you know, those cameras on them, like
that's back before you could cop watch, and it was like where it gets theirs.
You take a picture with your cell phone, it just looked like grainy, like no matter how much light there was, it just looked grainy and like distorted, and like you couldn't even like it was completely useless. Yeah. Motorola flip phones. That's what we had back then.
I had a track phone. Hated it.
I've had a few track phones.
Like they didn't even have a keyboard. The keyboard was the number pad, so you had to know like which letter.
Yeah, shit.
Like on a telephone.
I never got good at texting with that shit. It would take me an hour to send a text message. That's why I never text messages back when text messaging first.
Yeah, I hated it.
It wasn't until we had keyboards that I ever started text messaging.
Or it'd be like 2 words.
Yeah, it would be just like 2 words. I wouldn't text very much because it was. But I knew people that could like sit there. They actually, whenever they switched to keyboards, they hated it because they for the 9 key because they could text like without looking at it. they could just like sit.
Oh, the
like,
kids
they-
can.
yeah. They would just like with one hand, like the dealer dude. He
This
could
is
just like
me
one
on my
hand
phone.
behind you. Yeah, exactly. That was me. I was like,
You have to hit the letter just
yeah, you have to
right.
hit the letter like 3 times real fast to get to the right letter.
And when I try to speak, it doesn't. My accent sometimes it doesn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Jonathan, wow, that's I want to hear that story. That's
I have a box full of cell phones from the last few years. I don't have every one of them, but I have a box full of old cell phones. And I don't
What
know why I
phones?
kept
Do
them.
you have games on them?
No, I never paid for that shit.
Do you get
Chris.
the
Ken is wanting to get a game together and possibly stream it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all right. What I mean, you need to play like a video game, like something on like Steam or something, or you want to play like
No, like actually play a game which all you can join. Like something like Kahoot.
He had a. Do you know about Kahoot? It's a trans game for kids. It's like an official educational
No,
resource.
that's not
And
true.
they teach kids about pronouns and
It's
like
it's not just that they're
gender
different
ideology.
topics. You can search any topic in Kahoot and
Oh,
it'll
that was
give you-
just one of the topics. And it had the
Yeah.
progressive flag across the top. I'm like, this is an actual thing that kids are
Do you want me to
accessing as an
you
educational
want me to
resource.
show you?
I've seen it.
I'll show you the game. I'll show you the game that I want us to play.
Moose, yeah, like let us like I don't know. I guess
Chris-
what I want to say is I know you like to be self-sufficient and handle
Chris.
stuff on your own, but don't be afraid to get support when you need it to. I guess what I'm
Chris,
What's up,
saying.
Ken?
question.
What's up?
Does your wife play games? Would she like to be part of game night?
We played
We-
Among Us for New Year's.
See, look, this is what the game looks like. I bet I put the share thing up there.
Yay.
Oh, the demon game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one we're trying to play.
I don't know how to do that.
It's you have a Steam account. You need a Steam account.
I
You
don't
don't have to pay
Steam.
for it or anything. Just sign up for a free Steam account,
Oh
and
no,
then I can
this-
invite you into the game, and then
I'm not
and then
sure
we
this
play
is
it.
something I'm gonna be able to get into. It's so cartoony.
Yeah, me
Little
either.
cartoon women. They're like little
But it's
fairy
it's
princess.
pure evil though. You completely take everything from your friends.
Oh, the demon. There's the demon. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
See, there's the bad guy. See?
There's
Lord
Jeff.
will take me in.
That's me.
But I still got to figure out. We got to do off stream. We'll figure out how to do it properly. But
Okay. Ooh. My lights just flashed.
the game is strip poker. It's poker. Yeah, I don't think so. No, it's not even like I'm not even shy. I just don't think anybody wants to see me naked. That's just, and I definitely lose poker. So.
Your wife does.
Yeah, that's what wives are for.
Jeff is like, what has just happened?
Oh no, I'm pondering. I'm like, content is content. And we all try to bring more sex to it. But
At the
we
same
want,
time, it's also
we want the
not
content. We want the right kind of sex, I guess. That's gonna bring.
What Kahoot questions should we do? Actually, Chris, do you mind me asking your wife what her favorite topic is on what category do you want us to pick, for example, so I can show you how the game works?
What categories are there to pick from?
Is there like arts? Is arts?
Just
one
pick,
of them?
yeah, just pick any category she's thinking of.
We don't know what they
Arts.
are. Is it,
Theater arts. She's a theater major. So.
Theater. How do you spell theater?
Daniel Price.
theater? Theater. Yeah, that's what my theater teacher told me. Like, it's theater. Don't ever call it theater. It's theater.
Music
Yes, well,
theater.
and theater are two different things. So that's true.
Theater is
Theater is the act of performing a theatrical show. A
theater is the building.
is the building.
Chris, do you have
Yeah,
a
the
cell
structure.
phone, right?
And where you see movies at is a cinema, not a theater.
Wait, Chris, you have a cell phone, right? Can you
Yeah.
go on your cell phone and put Kahoot.com and type in the code that's gonna come on the screen so you guys can play.
Oh Lord, this already got too complicated.
I don't know if we want to do that right now. Do we want to do that right now?
So you guys can play.
My daughter dyed her hair blonde today.
A little bit. Right here and in the front.
Oh.
Looks really cute.
Yeah, it looks really cute. She told me she wanted me to do it. I was like, well, if I have enough time. But she went to Judy.
Yo, can I share this, please? Present.
Sure.
Oh, let me see what it is. What
This
is
is the
that?
trans game.
The trans game.
Kahoot.it. Okay. Let's see.
You see the code in there, and it says
Yeah, I
game.
see it. I'm gonna have to sign up for an account and everything. No, I guess I don't. It's game. That's
Maybe we can do this another day when y'all are all set up.
Do you see it?
Yeah, no, I got it. I'm there.
Oh,
I'm gonna put the code in the chat so everyone can see it.
well,
Up
they can
there.
look. There he is, a plague of arrows. That's
Let's.
this little owl.
Okay,
icon.
let's start game.
Kahoot. Musical theater. All righty. Here we go. Perfect for Pride Month.
Yeah, there we go. What did theater start thriving in Paris? Huh?
Huh?
Oh, when?
Well,
That would be the 1700s?
1700s.
1700s. No, 1600s? Okay.
Oh. I know Moliere was like the 1600s, 1700s.
I'm the only person playing. Why am I the only person playing?
Is it Italian?
Cause there's no
Oh.
other people playing right now.
Why aren't you playing?
Cause I can't. Cause I'm the host.
I don't know this one. Try Portugal. I don't know. Spain.
I would say Greece.
I'm not up on my opera.
I'm gonna say Greece.
Greece for opera.
Incorrect. Greece. Okay.
Do you want to continue or do you want to wait till there's more people?
Lindsay helping? Does she know any of these?
No.
Do you want
She
me to
doesn't-
wait?
No,
doesn't
go on
remember
through,
all
there's only
the-
5. You might as well go on to the next ones.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
the next one. Go on.
Due to no interaction.
Duplicated in New York. Oh, shit. Oh, I don't even know these names.
Composer.
I'm gonna go
Uh,
with Enrique Sublite.
I'll go with Offenbach.
I was incorrect.
Does
It
it
was-
tell you the correct? Or-
Yeah.
It tells me
Two.
incorrect. Yeah. A handful of Vienna's theater concentrated musical works offering the following. Okay. And this was in Vienna. So I'm going to say burlesques, del reys, and operas. Nope. It was.
Oh, I
operas,
see.
burlesques.
It's the little check mark. Okay. Wow.
You get how this
Probably New
works
York,
out though,
huh?
Jeff?
New York.
It's either Paris or New York, but I'll say New York.
Vienna? Oh, wait, early 20s? Oh, no, I don't.
Oh shit! Yeah, I wasn't
said
paying
New
that
York.
much attention.
All right. Well, I'm not a musical theater queen anyway, so
Neither am I.
don't
I
think
know musical theater, but I don't know.
I've been in a few, but oh, was
We
it
get what-
Portugal?
What are you in?
If we had
Those
if
were
we
all
had more
guesses.
players, it would have more fun if we had more players. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
we could use a game like this as a sub game in like the bigger game I want to play, like the Survivor type game, where like you could win votes off of this. We would tally the votes up and like and then we could do the Survivor game like this. This would be a good way. And there's also there's an extension I have on Discord that has like a wheel you can customize and spin. You can choose like what you want on the wheel, and you can spin, and each person can spin it, and then
Yeah. How about if someone doesn't have Discord on their laptop or something?
They don't have to because I'll just
They're
share the
out of the
screen and I'll spin it for them.
Okay, that's cool. Jeff, when do you wanna, or who wants to host the game night?
Well, we gotta find enough players. That's the stumbling block so far, is getting enough
Well,
people
you know,
together
our
at
night
the
streams
right time.
usually have a few more people, so maybe we could just like conscript everyone into
Introduce
it.
it once we have enough people. Just
Yeah, just once we have enough people, just be like, hey, we're all
remind
playing
me.
this game.
That is the thing to do. I just need to remember.
Yeah.
Do it.
Why is she not
But-
streaming?
Well, should we go start
I don't
something in
mind
the
that.
Discord?
I don't mind that as a game to play. That's fine. I'll even
Should we go get
download it on
something
Google
started?
Play. Says you can even create your own quiz. Oh, you can create your own quizzes on it. That's cool.
Yeah, you
So
can.
I can
Create
create
Panelverse quizzes about what
Exactly.
happened in the Panelverse.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh
That's-
yeah, that's cool. You're
I can
welcome,
create
Chris.
my own quizzes on here. That I'm interested in.
You're welcome, Chris.
What type of account would I like to create? Teacher, professional, student, or personal? What's a professional trivia account? What does that even
This is
mean?
for kids. This is an educational resource for kids.
It's not just for kids though.
But if
Well,
I
I
can
know.
if I get to create my own stuff, then it doesn't have to be for kids anymore.
I'm letting you know what it's like. It's what it originated as. That's why you see some things like teacher, professional, etc. You're asking questions. I'm trying to answer them and give you
Wait.
some background and context on the little
No,
app.
Question.
I
I
get
have a
that.
question, Jeff. Do
Yeah.
you enjoy music?
I love music.
Cause
Yeah,
I don't know if you know who band. I'll give him the link. I'll put the link in the thing. But I have a friend at the music. If you're interested, his name is Banjo Mash.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, we use all our music usually on this stream, but we can. I actually started to create some new stuff. So
I'm gonna put his link in the chat.
none of it's ready for public consumption yet, but I'm working on some new beats.
I put it in the private chat in the comments so you guys can look up and subscribe
Okay.
to him. He's
You want to see my instrument to create beats with?
ooh, that's cool.
It's just a MIDI controller. It's not actually a guitar, but it looks like a guitar. It's got a pitch modulation right here, and you've got your modulator right there. It's just the basic modulation.
Jeff, do you play any guitars or anything?
I don't play instruments at all. I have dyspraxia. I can't.
Why is it doing?
Chuck wants to know what the latest in your love affair is, Ken.
Nothing new lately.
You're solo again?
I haven't
You're solo?
talked. Of course.
You're back on the market?
Yes, I am. Why, Chuck, you interested?
I forgot that before I put this thing in storage, I wiped it. I have none of my programs on it.
All right. Well, I'm ready to wrap up and hit the Discord.
All right.
So we'll again, no stream tomorrow unless Chris wants to stream. I work tomorrow, so no stream tomorrow. I might do an evening stream to make up for it. We'll see. But definitely we'll be back on Wednesday with another topic, romance and the hero's journey.
I'll do a stream. We can talk about some game
another
stuff.
open-
We can talk about music stuff or whatever. I usually just focus on pop culture stuff.
Yeah, y'all can maybe play around with some games.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm able to peek in from work if I get a break now and then that's long enough. So I might peek in if you do something.
Definitely.
All righty. Well, that's us for today. That's all, folks.
All right, then. I'll see you in Discord.
What's up?
All right. I'll see you in Discord.
What happened?
We're just wrapping up. There's not much
Already?
going on.
You're not
It's
going.
gone 2 hours.
You're not going live anymore tonight.
Probably not tonight. I'll be back on Wednesday.
I was gonna go live, but
Yeah, do that.
if you want to join or you're not interested,
I might. I'll see how the day goes. It depends. I could. I don't know, Jonathan. If Jonathan's giving you the best advice here.
make sure you stay on top of Grace Ken. That should be your goal. Yo, bro. Excuse me,
how about say
Jonathan. You can't mention her name. You can't mention her name to Jeff. He despises her.
I don't. I don't want her on my channel. I don't want her. Not her as a person. I don't want her as a topic on my channel.
Would you let her?
I don't care to give her any energy
you-
or oxygen at all. Any of the Thorpes. I just.
Would you let her on your panel if she was respectful?
No. I don't want her. She's never coming on my panel, and we're not talking about her on the panel anymore. So we'll leave all of that off panel. Y'all can talk about Discord, whatever you want. She's not a panel topic I want on here. So we're done.
Jonathan.
Bye. I'll see you later. Have a good day, and
I hope you have a wonderful day, bro. Yo, Jonathan, look. Jonathan, don't say that.
You want to do your little wrench thing?
Oh yeah. Everyone, just make sure since everyone like up and subscribe to the best YouTuber out there. You'll get a couple rewards when that happens. But first, you gotta up.
Come back here, child. There's no rewards yet. Once we get monetized, we can start maybe incorporate some of that. But no, just do it because you want to do it, really.
Yes.
Because you get something out of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
I don't
to
want
say.
anyone wasting their time here. If you don't get something out of here, don't waste your time on it. But if you do, I do appreciate the support and spreading the word. So, all righty. That's it for us today. See you on Wednesday, unless I stop by some panels tonight. All right. Take care, everybody. Hail yourself. Happy Pride. One of the 7 satanic sins. Yes. Renato, I look forward to it. I enjoyed our last conversation. I really did. So good to see you. Okay. Take care.